we are recording now. Realized that the other day, well, not the other day, I don't even know how many days ago, the wife said it, like, all this is kind of like Groundhog's Day in a sense. It's kind of,
Yeah.
because it's kind of like summer, but in summertime, I enjoy the daily routine and losing my watch and not having to know the date per se. But that's
No doubt.
This not quite exactly the same, because whereas that's kind of happened, it's kind of like, oh, wait a minute, it was a 3-day weekend. We were talking about, you didn't even realize it was a holiday weekend. When was it like Friday we were talking or something?
Yeah.
We're like, oh yeah, it is a holiday weekend. And still having to do all the stuff that we do, but just kind of like it turning into Groundhog's Day, not knowing each day. And then I was like, oh yeah, it was a holiday weekend. Today's Tuesday. We normally record on Tuesday. So it gets started. Had our faculty meeting this morning instead of tomorrow, because we are in the process of, I think you guys are normally a week ahead of us, but we're in the process now for our schooling of stuff. I took kindergarten, had their drop off today, drop off of whatever books, materials, and pick up of other said things. Our school, we start middle school the next 3 days of collecting of like devices and library books and whatever they still happen to have. So it's kind of like the finality of the school year is really coming to head, and then I think seeing how this all affects into our summertime life and routines as things are, depending on where you're at, how much things are opening up, is going to be interesting. It's going to be different. I am hoping that there is a sense of normalcy, because at least now being home for us as teachers, is going to be minus without camps for the moment, is maybe seem a little bit more normal,
Yeah, that was where we were. Like you said, my daughter had her check out today. But yeah, last week we did everything. So like Tuesday,
mm-hmm.
Was it Tuesday? Yeah, Tuesday, because I ran in. We did all of that, and then Thursday we did our teacher checkout, and yeah, everybody was the same way. They were like, "So, how are you doing?" And we're like, "Well, we've all been doing the same." And it seems like we've already had summer break. We've had 6 weeks of kind of semi-free time, and so we get to do it all over again, but with less stuff to do. So,
yeah. And I hesitate to say like summer break, because yes, we've all been working, and like the general who doesn't understand teachers hears that. We use it a little more freely because we know how much work we still have been doing and still have to do and everything else. But like, I don't ever say it with the connotation of like we've been on vacation doing whatever we want, but there is still that feel to it because of the at homeness of it.
And and you're exactly right. Yeah, that you're not getting up, you're not face to face with the kids every day. You're dealing with them in a different format, and that's even like I sat down yesterday, and so part of what we're teaching him at Hadley over the summer is how to journal. And so we've gone through all these different things, and this may be something we can get into later, but like we sat down and I'm teaching him how to lay out a journal so he can have like his to-do list, his daily goals, check them at the end, all that stuff. But yeah, you start laying it out and you start realizing that summer's here, and I know we'll touch on this later for coaching about what we're going to do. And so with what our state's put out last week, like, normally we were going to have like 3 days a week was dedicated to just wrestling for like 4 hours at night. Well, now all that changes, and so now I'm looking at anywhere from possibly 2 days up to 5 days a week. And like you said, people outside what we do don't really grasp the time that we do. Like I know you have art stuff that you used to go to. My wife has math or engineering stuff. I mean, even mine now, their stuff and everything is everything's now shifted to virtual.
Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting. Yeah. So yeah, we don't have a summer break. We always say, if you're a real teacher, you don't have a summer break because you're still learning, you're still growing.
Well, I mean, what's the kind of the running joke in education, or like I find it to be the running joke because I find it to be true. It's like April, May, what is it? June is almost busier than any other time of the year. Between, like you said, doing the art stuff, I've got 2 different things to do with that. Normally some wrestling camps mixed in there, whether it's the local one or when you go to, like June is really the busy month. For
Yeah.
teachers who people think we get 3 months off, like I try to make July as much as possible the vacation month, and try to do as much as I can in that 1 month, that people assume that we have all 3 months for, and all that.
And if you're, yeah, and if you're a football oriented or a fall sport, June is typically your slow month, and after July 4th, it's wide open.
Yeah.
So if you're in a coaching field or heck, even band,
Yeah.
I mean, the band is the same way. I mean, golly, what they do,
I tell you
there's
what,
so much.
what they do is completely underrated, and I'm not just saying that being a related arts person.
Yeah.
But you go try to do anything on black asphalt for 6 hours a day in the South, every day, and tell me they ain't working.
But I'm not a musically inclined person, but to be able, you got to walk and play. Look, we see people that can't even walk and talk on a cell phone. You're asking somebody to walk around and play an instrument. So
play and do it like on that black asphalt.
Yeah.
Dead of summer, with that sun beating down. I'm like, dude, y'all getting cooked all which way.
So yeah, and you throw in the majorettes, you throw in the cheerleading. Like I said, there's a whole. It all depends on where you are in the education field. That a lot of people do forget. Oh, and by the way, what if you have kids too? So, I mean, there's all that other stuff. They just
we joke and say like education is not built for teachers with kids because like all the assemblies and everything to go to, like I'm kind of in class or I have to go test a day or which so it's all kind of fun.
Yeah, that's when if you have administration that has kids that have gone through it, it's great. I've had some that don't. It's like, what are you doing? It's like, you'll understand one day.
Yeah, it's like, what do you mean you need the day off because there's an assembly at 11:30 at your daughter's school, or so-and-so's getting an award and it's going to take 30 seconds, but the time frame of that assembly is from this time to this time, and we don't know what time can I run out during this class period. I hope take it back in time.
There's no doubt. Yeah. So, when they're little, they want you there. As they get older, they're just kind of like, all right. So.
Yeah, for sure. So, I mean,
that's true.
But I guess as far as like new things going on, I just right now, like I said, I'm looking forward to finding some sort of normalcy in things. Wrestling wise, like been watching the different things on Flow, trying to keep up with things. Haven't seen like a ton of new wrestling news other than like I think one of the RTCs out in Oklahoma has got a bunch of people at it right now that is like everybody else in the nation. Like, hey, there's one thing of somewhat sports going on right now. We're gonna go record that and see what happens.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm doing. I'm flipping through Instagram right now to see if anything's popped up because
out of the latest things. So I think it's just kind of an interesting time right now where we're kind of at that pause of in between things, waiting to see how things turn out. Places are opening, places aren't opening. We've got schools coming to an end, and just seeing how the summertime stuff. All I know for sure is probably now more than maybe any other year, I think everybody is excited for a break. Everybody's excited for a vacation from, what you take vacations for, like just that little getaway to someplace else, something different instead of the at-home thing. And that's where they're at home.
Yeah.
This weekend, I kind of enjoyed. I did a little mini. I was on the phone, but like. My MacBook, like I pretty much just like left all the school and my other summer class stuff that I'm doing. I left that off for like the majority of the week until last night because I knew I had stuff first thing this morning. But I was like, it was nice to get away from that. And I saw one of the memes that says everybody's vacation this summer is going to be away from away from a virtual meeting.
Yeah, that was I mean, we kind of did the same thing. We had the race on Saturday, and then Sunday we shut it down.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then we were literally just laying down, and there's a neighborhood like pool club that we go as guests, so we just joined it this year. But they were like, oh yeah, it's Memorial Day, so yesterday we went up there, and let's say social distancing was a little closer with because of the amount of people that were there. So, but it's kind of like you said. I mean, it was all about people. It's like states, especially in the South, said, all right, we're open, use your best judgment, and people are like, they've been cut for so long that they were like, we're going. And, some people did do like, hey, we're not going, we'll just give you the air high five. Hey, good to see you. And then you had those people that are just like, hey, if I get it, I get it, whatever. So, but everybody's having a good time. You respected each other, what was going on. So the high school, Kel got to see a bunch of his buddies from Pelham. So you had a bunch of teenagers that, they've been locked in. They hadn't seen each other for 2 months. So, so it's been good. It was a good time. So
yeah, we went out and we forwent the baseball practice that somehow tried to say the county said they could, but I don't think they really did because the governor said no.
Yeah.
Devin, it's kind of funny. I was talking to Devin, and like a radio thing came on and said that he was like, "Yeah, I'm good with waiting until the end of the month when you say we can have it." But we went to the ball field on our own, and I can't pitch with the darn, so he had a lot of good swings at balls that he wouldn't normally see. So
you're giving him positive reinforcement, okay? That's great coaching.
So we got to go out, but we got to go out and hit some balls and stuff like that. Saw one of the kids from the middle school is at the high school now, and he was, shooting some baskets and said, hey, and it was just kind of different. Did the elbow, hey, how you doing, instead of like the high five, shake hands, which is fine. We were in close enough proximity to still engage and be human, but at the same time, kind of being respectful of, didn't know how many people are, like you said, or high five, do the elbow thing, whichever way it goes, just trying to be courteous and kind to all people and just respectful of either which way you feel about it, so but I think that was kind of cool to get out and do a little bit of that. And, some of the other stuff that I've been trying to keep up with and look at, obviously keeping up with the wrestling, but one of the things I saw was what you mentioned, just journaling, things to do while on quarantine. I haven't really gotten into that far of it yet, but I've still been working on some of the other stuff, like getting better and getting that new craft and hobby, side hustle and all that kind of stuff. So I actually just ordered a few more T-shirts today, so I'm going to print up a few more of those. And I'm actually going to, seriously looking at it, I'm going to get one of those, sounds kind of funny, one of the vinyl cutter machines.
I have one of those in my classroom.
Yeah, I'm going to get one of those so I can make the screens, because I can use that instead of having to photo do it. I can just print out a screen and cut it and do it, and just do some more stuff with that, and just kind of go with some marketing and do some more branding and stuff. I've got on my list of things the Tucker Dot logo, the Chelsea one, and one other logo I've got on my list of logos and things to work on for hopefully throughout the week. So I get those things, and maybe I can print out some stuff off of it and go with it. So
that was what I was. We got the what all? Yeah, we got the vinyl machine, we got the heat press, and then I bought the 3D printer, the Cricut, all that stuff. Because part of my family consumer science, that's part of the stuff we do is with the designing and stuff. And that's part of what I was going to do this summer, was spend time in there, playing and figuring it out. So
so like I said, so I'm kind of doing it that way, except now I'm just doing it at home, so I can not only just do, like I said, logos for friends and other people, but other people that want stuff, and just do some other little custom things. And we're in the world with more of the online stuff, no problem with finding another niche of doing things and using whatever trades and skills you have. So I kind of like that. And I think preaching to the choir type thing, but this, for anybody listening, I encourage everybody to keep on doing those things that you've been trying to do. Just because it's getting to that point of schools closing out and doing things doesn't mean don't stop reading, don't stop journaling, don't stop whatever thing you were doing. Let's see people continue on that positive growth and continue to do that. Continue to, and here's the other thing, continue to do the home workouts, continue to do this. If you do have a gym that is open and you want to go back to it and you feel comfortable, great, go do that and find a way to incorporate maybe some of the things that you did at home that you didn't normally do at the gym, and do things. So, I think that's kind of what I was thinking about for this episode, was just encouraging people, even though we're getting to a point where everybody's kind of tired of it and all, but continue on with the good things that everybody's been doing. So. Yeah,
and that's what I've been looking at since the state put out their stuff last week. And we don't know. We'll find out tomorrow what our county's going to do. Is knowing I'm going to have to revamp how it is, how we would do our normal weight program, our normal conditioning program. So having to revamp it, and what you said is exactly right. Stuff we're going to preach to our guys is, hey, we're going to have to revamp this. So it's not going to be exactly what we want, when we work out here. And some kids aren't still not going to feel comfortable with their parents.
Yeah.
So going to have to continue to find ways to make it accessible for kids to still get the best that they can.
And I think that I think education is going to kind of head that way in a sense of like, whether we're at school or not, like this window, and like you said, you do really well with, the e-learning thing, like give a list of things to do and do this and, be able to knock that out. And one of the things like our school mentioned was like addition to clubs and stuff. And I was like, what if there's a time for those that like actually enjoyed this learning process and excelled at it versus being in the classroom and worrying about 15 other million things?
Yep.
Why don't we continue to find a way to incorporate this? Because education, we always preach and say it's for all learners and all styles, and it's not just for one thing. So, I'm kind of that growth mindset of trying to continue to grow and embrace the good and whatever it is we're trying to do this.
Yeah. And I've said that from the beginning, like this is going to be great. We can get us out of that industrial era.
Yeah, you said
actually,
the archaic style of education is the way and I liked the way you said it. It's so true,
It is. And actually, our state superintendent, I think, came out Friday or Saturday and straight up said that, hey, if kids want to continue with the online next year, we're going to do everything in our power to make it happen. And you've seen educators go, oh, my God. And I'm just like, yes, like I said, this fits in what I believe. This is where kids should do. Because like I said, even my daughter misses her friends, but she has excelled in the online. Whereas my son, he excelled in it, but he missed he needs that interaction, whereas my daughter doesn't. Yeah. So, and like you said, it is literally, it's that old cartoon with the old guy sitting there and like you have like the fish, the elephant, the monkey, the giraffe, and it's like, all right, the test today is who can climb that tree. If you can't do it, you fail. And that's literally what education is.
Yeah.
But now we have a choice.
If you're a fish, you're like, great, like I can't get out of this bowl, more or less go climb that tree. So,
yeah. So, and we know as educators, and I think more parents have appreciated, I know they have appreciated what we have been doing because Amy and I were talking about that the other day, like the answers you give, our kids would give us, we're as teachers, we understand when you ask a kid a question, they go, oh, well, because I learned that in second grade. That's how I know it. It's like, no, how did you get it out of the information from right here? Well, as a teacher, we know explain, but as a parent, the kid says that, and you're like, well, put 20 of those in a classroom, and now you're starting to see what we deal with.
Now you're understanding what's going on with it and, all that kind of stuff like that. So, for real.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was also thinking, the only other thing I was going to think about, or not think about, the other thing I was thinking about discussing today was kind of on that positive growth set and things like that. It's kind of one of those things that the podcast we've mentioned before of surrounding yourself with like-minded people, having that positive vibe. And I just think through some of this as well, like I've heard it phrased different ways. And one person, they phrased it like finding your top 5 or whichever. And what that alludes to is like during this time, finding your, not necessarily not like a clique or your group of best friends, but finding that support system. And I think we all realized throughout this that we need that support system. And that's maybe something I haven't really mentioned as much, but like find that top 5, find that support system, find that like-minded set of people that are going to encourage you to grow and do whatever it is that you're doing. People that are going to encourage your side hustle, people that are going to encourage your home workout, people that are going to encourage your diet, people that are going to encourage what it is you're doing. And you can always turn, and I liked how they said like a top 5, because like, one of the sayings is like you're the sum of the 5 people that you surround, so I kind of like that number. And I was like, that I think needs to also hold true now. Reach out to your top 5 if you haven't already done so, and be like, hey, this is what I've been doing, and or you already know who they are, because in this world of social media and other things, and a lot of people are posting and doing different things, they're the ones that are going to like and support. They may not agree with you, but they're going to talk to you constructively and with a positive, dialogue of doing different things, but they're still going to support you in your system. And like, you always got that group that's going to retweet the positive or repost positive or say, go check them out. And, I think right now like I said, the two things I think are big right now, or not big, that are important, are continuing to do the good things that we've been doing, because we've got to keep moving forward, and then making sure that you've got your top five, find that group. And if you haven't
Yeah.
done it, just kind of like reach out and be like, hey, appreciate you guys,
Yeah, and I know this has meant a lot to me. I mean, all the time, and the fact that what we call each other brothers and our family, and just being
Yeah.
able to do this each week has been fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Something I look forward to. Only thing I would add to that is I'm not a. I have the top five, but I think you said it, and I think you say a little different. I said a little different. I think you should have people that challenge you in there, because you said difference of opinions, because you don't want people that always agree with you.
Yeah,
Like one of our coaches now, he definitely leans way more opposite of the spectrum than I do, but we have great dialogue, and
yeah,
we meet in the middle in so much. But it's just cool to have that different perspective, and I think that person is in there because it does keep you from that tunnel vision of having blinders on.
and I think that says it perfectly, because like when I say like-minded people in that top five, I 100% think that having people in that circle or that group or whichever that you're friends with in your core does not necessarily mean they have to agree with everything you say or do. But like when you do have that discussion or that discourse and that dialogue, it's an open one, and one that
Yes.
you approach with trust and like willingness to listen and learn from, and I think that's important. It sounds like kind of weird to say like-minded people, but like, because you automatically assume that they're going to agree with everything wholeheartedly and never disagree. But when I say like-minded people, I mean like from the onset of like growth mindset and
Yes.
willingness and stuff like that. So when I say like-minded people, that's what I mean. And I think that's a great clarification. I'm glad you said it. So I think I kind of hinted at it, but I didn't really clarify that. So
Yeah.
you don't want a cheerleading party behind you for every last little thing, because that will run you off a cliff sometimes, just cheering you off of it, not my way. So that like-minded group and that top five or whatever it is, however it is you want to phrase it, has definitely got to be people that you trust and that you can have a dialogue with that don't agree with you, that will argue.
And that top five can also vary based on the subject matter that you're with.
Very
so
true.
So I guess that's why I don't really put a number on it, because it all kind of depends on what I'm looking at, as to who I'm going to go to. But sure. I guess if you think about it, like you said, there are going to be those people that you're going to reach out to more than others, and so those more outgoing people are going to have a higher number. Those more introverted people are going to have a smaller number.
Yeah.
But either way, what you said is exactly right. I mean, it's people that are going to challenge you but push you.
Mm-hmm. So. Challenge but push, yeah. And I just say top five because it's an easy thing to say, and I kind of like the number. It's seems like a thing, but yeah, for sure. Like your top five can be your top three, it can be your top two, it can be your top 15, depending on who you are and your personality wise. And you're right. Like some people are good that way of going with that many people, but there are also maybe a lot more things where they have 5, 10, 15, for different things.
Yeah. And I'll say this, as we both of our families are similar in that, your spouse needs to be the number one in there, because obviously to be able to do what we're doing right now, they've got to be supportive. Like you said, the race that we did, my wife, the fact that I try to eat more vegan, vegetarian style, even some of her friends have been like, how in the world, but it's something you have to go into it together. You have to have dialogue. If you have a family, your family's got to be right there with you, because all successful business people, coaches, whoever, they'll tell you it's their family's got to be behind them, or else it's not worth it.
Yeah, it's like those decisions with like making decisions with kids. Like I call it the Cerebrus compound here at the house, with the gym, garage, and all that kind of stuff, and willingness to work out and like do different classes and do different things, and that exploration. I can imagine that would be a hard thing for people to do who didn't support that.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody were like, no, we're not putting that stuff in the garage, or no, we're not doing that, and that's what you really want to do, and then you're getting axed before you ever really get a chance to. So 100%, those closest to you, have got to be that top supporter, which doesn't mean, like, for example, my wife, like, she hears me rant and talk all the time. She's like, I don't have to go listen to you talk on your podcast. Like, she's not that kind of supporter. She's not going to be like, I'm going to go listen to your newest episode. She's like, yeah, I listened to you enough. I don't want to listen to you anymore. But she's going to be the supporter and be like, yeah, go record it. Go talk to Nick. Go talk to your brother. Go not go work out in the garage because she'll be like, I'm stretching, I'll be waiting for you out there, you know, like
Yeah,
to get the workout in. So, you know, support comes in many different fashions too. So,
it does. It does.
so, but I think, I don't know what the weather's doing. I think we got some different kids and we can go check on some stuff today. Unless you got anything massively new, you didn't see anything while you were scrolling through about any new news on anything.
I didn't see anything new on there. I was just wondering, like I told you, I mean, we're opening up June 1st, and
Yeah.
we'll know more. We don't have a set number. Like I said, just got to wear a mask unless you're doing the exercises. Try to practice social distancing. So there's a little message Facebook group with Alabama coaches, and some of them are kind of already saying, oh, we're going to be not full bore, but, you know, there might be some more contact when some other coaches are like, you know, oh, we're not going to. And of course, I'm like, first of all, you don't put anything like that on social media. Like what you're going to do.
You kind of like we talked about with the, like what I said, like, you know, you're a role model or not necessarily, you're a person in the community that people are going to look at, and you need to do what you do as a job. And if your school says you're allowed to go to the pool, you're allowed to go to the pool. But if your school says don't go to the pool, you don't go to the pool because that's district rules. Whether you agree with going to it, I don't know why I came up with a pool, maybe because you mentioned it earlier, but like whether you agree with it or not, I mean, you kind of follow the rules with it.
Yep. So that was, I mean, like I said, that's what we've got. And once again, they put it all down to the districts. And so I didn't know what the South Carolina Athletic Association, I mean, I don't know if you saw somebody, I think Lee posted that, you know, Cleveland's already started training up there in Tennessee. And it didn't look like they were doing a whole lot of close contact, like they had the dummies and everything. So I don't know what Tennessee is. So I didn't know what South Carolina Athletics has done or
so far with
what
us,
they said.
What we've done is, and then speaking of like funny stuff, I was like, I wanted to send you this one because you like some Onyx, but end of the month for us is the youth stuff. The kind of like private stuff is going to be allowed to be on fields and allowed to do those type of things and stuff like that. We're still waiting for our high school league to say what, but we're kind of thinking with that June 1st, they're going to eventually say something along the nature of like, yay, these groups can, these groups can't, that kind of thing like that. So, you know,
that's pretty good right there.
Yeah, somebody was like, we needed like somebody was like, can you do a shirt? And I was like, and I thought of like that one. And I was like, yeah, I could throw something together for you.
There you go. That would work.
I'd be a fan of like our era of stuff, so.
Yeah, and I mean, we've allowed, like, Alabama's no competitions. So all the camps, all competitions are out. But you can bring people in and run a camp for your school. So that's okay. But then it gets into, now our wrestling question is, well, what's the social distancing side of it? So, I don't know. That's going to vary by district.
Yeah, I'm waiting to see what the final word is, but I think our coach, he sent out he said he read a thing that said it's like I don't know if he was exaggerating or not. He might have been, he might not have been, like a 16-page document with, again, steps involved with, like, to begin it. And he said the first step was obviously no contact. And he was like, I don't know how long that can last. And I mean, we're all on it of stance and motion, but, you know, like, at some point in time, we get past stance and motion and actually hands-on and go. But so we'll see how long that is and the way it goes. I said, and I did say that, I said, it sounds like a long road, but at least it's a road to be on.
Yeah, it is. And I think that's the National Federation thing he was talking about, where it listed low, medium, and high risk sports. And of course, when I saw that come out, I was like, well, football and wrestling, top two on the high risk. So, and in the South, we said, that road, that'll be that left lane, that DOT lane.
That's the express pass lane.
There you go. Yeah.
Literally, when you pay for this ticket, you get to be in this lane.
Yeah. So Morning car line. So carpool. So get on the bus. Let's go.
People are paying for that express lane ticket. So we'll see how it goes.
I guess I did want to ask. So and I've been meaning to ask Kyle up there at UTC about the you know, who do you think? Who do you think RTC South replaced Dan Dennis? Kel and I've had some talks about it, and just trying to think of names. Just like, who do you think they're targeting? Because I mean, it's been quiet. I haven't asked, I haven't heard anything. Who do you think that they're targeting to try to bring in?
You know, if I were to guess somebody, like I've kind of slightly wondered, but I haven't really thought about it. So this is actually a really great question. It's one that I want the answer to just as much as you do, because we have the biased reason for wanting to know. But I think just due to the nature of the way he's trying to take that program, fight for every point and everything else, and encompassing RTC as the whole, regional training center or South, like it's not just a Chattanooga thing. I think, and if you look at the schedule they had, I think he's going to be looking at somebody. I don't know who else he has ties to from when he made, was he Pan Am rep and then like went and won it or something like that, and they was like the third or fourth person down the line, and he ended up getting to go.
Yeah,
but I think it's going to have probably if not a Big Ten like assistant or something, maybe somebody from up that way from like that he might know from like the what division is like Cornell, kind of like an opposite.
Yeah.
Like Scotty went up there to go train with them and something like that, but maybe somebody from that area coming down, because I do think he wants to keep a name because he knows the draw factor. And just also sticking with those guys that have been proven. Like I just don't. Just due to the nature of what he's done, like he's obviously from Wisconsin, he's got that Big Ten connection. I don't see him pulling anybody from like the West Coast. Like I don't see I don't see the West Coast connection. Like from any of the Arizona State guys or Oklahoma State or Oklahoma, any of those guys. So that I think it's going to come from up there. As crazy as it sounds, like I don't know.
Yeah, while you're thinking, that's kind of what I've felt too, is going to be a Big Ten guy.
Like one of the Wisconsin assistant coaches. I don't know if it'd be like a McDonough guy,
And his father-in-law is Johnson, the Big Ten announcer.
Mm-hmm.
So that's his father-in-law. So he's got those ties. And I mean, I'm kind of thinking, my thought process has been that way. I don't think it'll be a big-time guy. I think it's going to be like a number 3, 4, or 5 down the ladder guy that is, kind of still training, but also looking for somewhere to kind of establish themselves for a while.
Some of this kind of stuff. That's why I kind of like mentioned the name McDonough. Like even though I don't know how like closely if not him, somebody like him. I mean, he was an Iowa guy. He's now at Wisconsin, and he's still training, and he kind of was on that circuit for a while. But he hasn't made a name for himself like head coach wise. So exactly like you said, like that, the third guy in line waiting to have a chance to show himself and like to be able to show himself as like the RTC guy, bringing some guys in and helping out and doing that.
And I know with everything going on with all this, I mean, Dan leaving and then all of a sudden everything happened, the ability. I mean, you're still going to have your meetings and stuff, but your ability to really make an announcement and hit the ground running, they may have the guy, but instead of announcing it because you can't do anything, you just kind of keep it.
Holding on to it and wait until they see if they get everything in and get everybody in and whatnot. So I don't see it being somebody that we don't know the name of.
Right.
So, I mean, I just think with having had Dan Dennis as that guy, that's, I mean, you started there and you kind of set the standard of what you're expecting, what you want, and for the growth of it. So I don't think it's going to be like, who's that?
Yeah, and he's had guys in training. I mean, so like I said, it's all, I can't remember, golly.
So I don't know. I'm trying to think like who I would love to see come in type thing,
Well, the guy from Rutgers that won it, why can I not think of his name?
Ashnault?
Not Ashnault.
Nicky.
Soriano.
Not Soriano.
But he still, is he done? Was he a senior?
I thought he still had another year left.
That's what I thought. And what I'm saying, like he was there training, and there was an Ohio State guy there training last fall when we went up. And so I was like, well, of course, I'm like, well, if Soriano's done,
I was kind of thinking more what about like a, I don't know, like a Miles Martin type name, Soriano type name. you know.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking too, like something like that. I don't know. Miles is from that area. I mean, he's from the Ohio, and he's from Ohio, I believe.
I think so, yeah.
So I think he's kind of tied in up in that spot. But you know, you never know. So also I'm trying to think like who's from the South, who has kind of Southern ties that might be looking to, you know, come back down. And
the biggest thing I could think of, like coming down to the South, would be like any of those guys that are like at UNI, you know, you know, just from like a lot of them come from the Georgia compound with, you know, those guys over there. But I don't see like Lee Roper or anything leaving the head job to come down and do that. But maybe he's got a couple guys that have graduated or somebody on staff there that's got that Southern tie that could continue to bring names into, you know, TC South and continue to grow that brand.
And it looks like a lot of those guys are not taking the Olympic red shirt again. From what it looks like, they're coming back.
I think everybody's kind of like, you know what? It's kind of like a double-edged sword. People who didn't redshirt lost the opportunity to be a so-and-so timer. You know, Spencer Lee, the forefront name at that. You know,
right?
Sammy Sasso from Ohio State being the freshman who could have. You know, I mean, that's just gone. But at the same time, everybody's also just realizing on the flip side, man, I redshirted so I could compete and do something later. So in essence, I lost a year of competition. So, you know, what do? It's like compete. I think the general thought process, I think, is like nothing's promised, nothing's given. We don't know when. But if I have the chance to compete, I'm going to compete while I have the chance to.
Yeah, that's kind of what I thought too.
Let the chips fall where they may, you know. So.
Yep. That was when I started hearing. I think Fick said he's coming back, and
he's not going to take one. DeMarco Hollis is coming back. You got Herman coming back. You got all those guys like stacking.
That's what I'm.
33 and 41 are going to be two fire weights again. Not like they weren't already, but like it's, you know.
Yeah, that's what I was getting at. Like, so it's going to be St. Louis will be rocking next year.
Yeah, in one form or fashion or another. Yeah,
that is true.
So, but all right, man. Well, I'm gonna call it for the day here, and I'm gonna take care of some stuff that I was slacking off on earlier. Yes, people, I'm gonna say I need to go do dishes still. I've just been.
I got to go take daughter to gymnastics. So
There you go. So it's all about that time. I'm going to take care of it. And I'm still probably going to upload everything tomorrow morning, even though we don't have a faculty meeting tomorrow morning. So, again, Groundhog's Day is getting shaken up a bit. It's all for the good. So.
All right, man. See you next week.
All right, man. We'll watch you later.
Bye-bye.